Alright guys, this is part 2 of my May the 4th video extravaganza. My name is Jared. For those of you just tuning in, we are doing a Rifts character top to bottom for the purposes of education, expanding the horizons of the gaming community, and also just maybe shedding some light on a game that gets overlooked because of a lot of hearsay. I myself am an enthusiast of the game, big supporter. The name of my channel comes from a mercenary team I led through countless campaigns in the Rifts universe, the Rifts megaverse, which is what you'll see a lot in their extended fiction. Now, don't get me wrong, the game has some holes. The system is not perfect, but nothing is, especially in our gaming genre, in our hobby. The thing you need to bear in mind as a game master, if you should choose to run a game of Rifts, is how high do you want the power to go. I know a lot of people that run just using the main book here, the Ultimate Edition, and they have a lot of fun. The core book has everything you need. Most of the available races and classes are fairly low on the power scale. In other words, it's a little bit more balanced than, say, some of the expansions that have come out. And you know what, as a game master, you need to be diligent in making sure that your party is, well, fairly balanced in a way. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity for min-maxing. In fact, the whole game's mission statement actually is to maximize, it says right here in their own writing, maximize characters and story to create vivid, memorable characters with strong personalities and a range of skills, strengths, and weaknesses that go beyond simple two-dimensional cartoon characters. Thus, it will take you a while to build your character, but the end result will be a character that is uniquely yours. Now, as far as taking a long time, it's going to take a long time if you're basing it off my videos, because there's a lot of this side banter that I'll be going through, and there's going to be some long-winded explanation, because I am going to be walking you through this, I'm finding, misunderstood game. Now, getting right down to it, also for the purposes of just time, and also just, I don't know, there's a lot of things that they put on, like, say, a printed out character sheet that are, I guess, occasionally used when it comes to this particular role-playing system. But in all reality, what I'm going to be doing today in the character creation process is giving you the bare essentials, the things you need. So that way, if you have at least what I'm doing today, you can play, which is huge in a role-playing game. Humongous. I mean, especially with Rifts. I mean, I've known guys that take a half hour. I've known guys that take 6 hours. Just because of the level of detail they put on a character sheet. The 6-hour guy really irritated the heck out of all of us because he just didn't get to play. I mean, boo on him. But what I'm going to do today is, or what I'm going to do through my sequence of videos, is hopefully giving you just the bare essentials, and that will get you into the fray. Start playing, and the rest, progressively, you can add on whatever you feel is information you use often, or you can choose not to add it at all. And whenever those situations come up, grab your copy of the Ultimate Edition and use it then. Or if you feel more comfortable having all this information at your fingertips, I'm not going to stop you. It's not the way I like to do things. But there's a fantastic array of PDFs and available character sheets floating around there on the internet. Some custom made, some straight from Palladium themselves. So I highly recommend it. Now, in the short break we had between the first video and the second, I took the liberty of finding a character that I think will be fairly good for an introduction to this game, and I've written down a few of the details regarding that character. So for the purposes of ease, and also a throwback to the very first character I ever played, I'm going to be playing a human that's a part of an organization, a military, well, big military power within North America. And as you play the game, they'll become as infamous to you as the Empire or the Nazis or whoever you see as a villain. Because I'll be playing a coalition grunt. Now that means nothing to any of you outside the Rift's spectrum, but the coalition is an organization that's very much human supremacist. And what that means is in the world of Rifts, actually, you know what? Before I skip ahead to my character and what they're all about, let me do something for you. For those of you that haven't seen my getting started video regarding Rifts, I'm going to do a brief catch-up for you. Rifts is a post-apocalyptic game. Yeah, we've seen post-apocalyptic games before. In this case, what has happened is that through a catastrophe of our own doing, namely a war, magic was brought back to 11. It had been dialed down because of a magical catastrophe in the past, and what we did really cranked it up. And the subsequent eruption of magic caused these openings in the fabric of space, time, dimension, to open up, and they are called rifts. That's the name of the game. Strange things came through. Some of them horrible, ghastly, what we would describe as demons, just monstrous creatures. Others were just dimensional beings, human-type creatures from other worlds, who got transplanted here, and it goes back and forth. I mean, Rifts is so multi-dimensional, you can do just about anything you like with it. If you're really into a gritty cyberpunk type of game, guess what? There's a lot of that here. In fact, they do have a lot of basis with cyberpunk as a company. So I highly recommend that if that's what you're into. Magic, as well, had came back into being quite literally in the world of Rifts, and magic users began to emerge within a few hundred years. And there's I mean, the way in which my character views all these things differs greatly than maybe some of you would. Magic is so multidimensional. If you remember the first video, the Book of Magic is huge because there's a lot of magic in this game, and psionics as well. Psionic ability. There's superpowers, but that's from other games you can bring in that are also built by Platinum. See, it's a universal system, so you can incorporate other Platinum products into Rifts because literally anything can come through a Rift or go through it. So if you're really not into Earth, you can bring them to some place else of your own doing, and we've done that many times. So that's basically what Rifts is all about. A great cataclysm occurred because of a war, and magic tore the world asunder and unleashed unspeakable oddities and evils all over it. I mean, for a little bit more of a hometown feel, I'm based out of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Calgary, Alberta, Canada was a site of a major rift. In fact, it's probably one of the most prominent ones in the whole of the Rift's world, which is funny because the company, I can't seem to find a connection with Calgary at all. They just must have heard about it or thought it would be strategically the best place. But yeah, Calgary, site of a huge rift, lots of stuff coming through there. Some of the most infamous critters and monsters that you can kill in this game came through that rift. And each part of the world was affected differently, and there's some stylistic things, some cliche things occurred. Like in England, there was an emergence of basically like fae, because they're trying to say that these things were here, but when the magic went away, they of course disappeared. So when the magic returned, a lot of these things did. Now, between the Cataclysm and game time is roughly about 300 years. I believe the game now starts out in year 109 PA, which stands for post-apocalyptic. So, and things are still far from mended. There's extremes in this world. There is low tech to the point of the Wild West. Even you could even say Bronze Age technology, all the way up to like far-flung future. Repulsor lift vehicles and walkers and mecha and all sorts of things like that. Because different cultures made it out of the Cataclysm in different ways. I mean, for example, in Germany, they had to take in a lot of refugees because what came through the rifts in Europe, most Eastern Europe, Poland, Ukraine, and places like that, were, actually even France, were gargoyles. Now I know what you're thinking. Gargoyles, who cares? I mean, I've killed like hundreds of them in D&D. Like, who cares? The thing of it is, gargoyles in the Rift universe are sub-demons. And a true gargoyle stands between 20 and, about 20 feet high. And the largest of them, that become their leaders, stood at about 25. And that's not even incorporating the fact that these particular sub-demons happen to have some high technology of their own and mecha of their own. Germany was better prepared for the Cataclysm and thus has been putting up a firm fight in the new German Republic. So, I mean, I'm probably going to showcase a lot of these things in later videos, but just so you see, this game offers a lot for you. Today, I'm going to keep it simple. So, getting to my character, I'm basing him out of North America. North America's got a few powerhouses, one of which actually is a magocracy, a magic kingdom that spans over several states. However, am playing a member of the Coalition, as I said. The Coalition are basically a fascist regime, and that's what they are. They're a fascist regime that carved their way out of the post-apocalyptic world, and they are incredibly human supremacist. Bear that in mind. They are not racist. They are human supremacist. They love humanity for all it is, and all it's achieved. But anything that associates itself with magic is extra-dimensional or supernatural in any way must be wiped out for the good of humanity, and that is exactly what they believe. So, and they're led by their emperor, a man by the name of Prosek. Now, Emperor Prosek, I'll go ahead and show you a piece of back art from the Ultimate Edition. There's our man right there. So, as you can see, you got the Emperor with his son standing next to him, and you notice they like to design themselves in skeletal armor and have some pretty high technology themselves. The skeletal armor goes back to just the human supremacist thing. Nothing is more human than our skeletal system. We instinctively already know that was a human body if we look at a skeleton. So they really incorporate that as a method of fear. I mean, and also if you're wondering, the thing being led to the Emperor in chains is actually a dragon, a hatchling. Dragons run a little bit differently than they do D&D. And also a little friend here that looks like a bulldog. Yeah, that is a mutant dog, especially created by the Coalition. They use them quite a lot because in their viewpoint, the dogs, were man's best friend, and they still are. They're very loyal to us, so we use them to rout out psychics, magic users, and extra-dimensional beings. Now, a lot of this does seem a little bit far-fetched, but what post-apocalyptic game have you ever played that didn't have some mutants in it? So, now, what I'll be playing is a Coalition Grunt. Now, a Grunt is bottom of the barrel. He's the frontline trench warfare kind of guy. He's, in the pit, dealing with all these sinister little things, far from the Empire and the lavish throne rooms and the mega cities, which have been built by the Coalition throughout various states, and actually a couple of provinces. They got some installations in Ontario, and the entire province of Quebec is a Coalition territory. But later on, they have some tension there. So, I mean, nothing's perfect, even in Rome. So yeah, that's where I wanted to start. Mainly because Coalition are humans, and in this game, humans are pretty much the baseline. So I wanted to kind of give you a yardstick of what is featured in this game. So, Coalition Grunt. Now, what I'm showing you here is a pictorial representation of Coalition armor. What we have over here on your left is the standard Coalition armor of, well, a few years ago. It's colloquially known as Black Lobster because of its look. It's got the skeletal faceplate. It's a full environmental suit, which means that it can survive in just about every hazardous environment you can think of without having real harm to the user. It's also made of pretty high density ceramic materials, which protect the user from things that normally would kill an average person these days, bullets, these sorts of things. I'll get into that shortly here. Now, my character will be wearing the much more new, up-to-date Coalition armor. It emerged after a few technological breakthroughs. It's not distinctly different. It was just a new style. It was a way in which, again, these fearmongers could instill more fear in their enemies and continue to do battle against what they viewed as evil. Now, if you're going to be playing one of these characters in a party that wants to feature the things the Coalition despise, my suggestion is either make the Coalition individual rogue, or you're going to have to split the party. And you know what? It's a lot of fun. I've tracked the rest of the party as a Coalition officer, and you just, with all their advanced magic, technology, psionics, even super strength, they could not defeat me until they actually found a way to capture me and take me prisoner. So don't ever think that what's human in a game like Rifts is mundane. So, moving this along, because there's still a lot more that needs to be done for this character. Okay, so we've established he's a Coalition Grunt. That's fantastic. Alright, so, camera being moved. Alright, so, here's the character sheet thus far. We got my name. R.D. Spielman, which anybody that has a rudimentary understanding of German means that I took the initials for my channel and put Game Man at the bottom. Not Gay Man, Game Man. Now, race, human. Class, or in this game as it referred to as OCC, Occupational Character Class, Coalition Grunt. Now, if my penmanship is terrible, or the video quality is not so great for you guys, I'm sorry, but that's why I'm saying this stuff out. Now, what you're going to need to start off with is getting your 8 stats down. And these are the correct order for them, and they start at the top with IQ, which is intelligence quotient, just like it is when you took an IQ test in high school. ME, mental endurance, MA, mental affinity, PS, physical strength, PP, physical prowess. Also, funniest stat to say out loud without giggling like a 5-year-old child. PE, physical endurance, PB, physical beauty, and then finally, that's the short form at the bottom for speed, which can be very important, especially when we start delving into things that are inhuman. Now, that's where I'm going to leave it for this particular segment. When I pick it up in the next segment, I'm going to roll my stats, and I'm going to do them Iron Man style. I know it's a bold move. I'm not that particularly good at rolling, but I really want to see. I don't want to give any opportunity for the min-maxers. There's a lot of min-maxing that goes on this game as is. I'm not going to allow myself to plant my skills or my rolls in the most min-maxy kind of way into stats. What I roll is what I get, and what I get is what I'll have to deal with as a character, and I'll have to role play that. So that is what I plan to do. If you are interested in any of the, if you're interested in playing, I suggest you check out the next video. If this is totally just put the nail in the coffin for you as far as Rifts is concerned, I'm terribly sorry, but I'm gonna keep going here, and hopefully you all will enjoy what it is that I'm trying to do here for May the 4th Community Day. In the meantime, keep those dice rolling, and we'll see you in the next segment.